In the lands of Midgard, the name of Thorolf Shield Wall resounded like a legend. Skalds wove sagas of his incredible strength, and his deeds became part of oral tradition. Yet even he could not evade the Allfather's call. One day, Odin appeared to him in a vision, his eyes burning like embers in the mist of time, and commanded him to embark on the most perilous journey, to descend into the icy depths of Niflheim to track down an ancient dragon. The beast's name had long been forgotten, but its power was still palpable within the eternal ice. The path to Niflheim was not for the faint of heart. Thorolf traversed raging seas, battled ice storms, and fought off the undead inhabiting the twilight lands of the goddess Hel. But when he finally confronted the dragon, he realized it was no mere monster. The beast was not only an embodiment of fangs and fire, but also the keeper of a secret capable of rewriting the Vikings' destiny. This was something so powerful that even the gods feared its revelation. Thorolf faced a dilemma: obey Odin's will and destroy the dragon, or defy the cosmic order to uncover the truth. In the icy heart of Niflheim, the warrior was to endure his greatest battle, not against a monster, but against his own fate. The ice cracked beneath his feet, and the dragon's breath turned the air to mist. Each sword blow was a duel between the present and the future. But what lay hidden beneath those layers of ice? And would fulfilling the god's will doom his people? In the harsh northern lands where icy mountains rose like impregnable walls and the sea fiercely crashed against the cliffs, Thorolf was born. His arrival was overshadowed by tragedy and ominous portents. His mother, Estrid, a woman of unyielding will, died in childbirth, and his father, Odin Ironwolf, a renowned warrior of the Ulfgar clan, fell in battle without ever seeing his newborn son. The boy's destiny seemed predetermined from his very first breath, a warrior born for battles, forged by pain, and destined for something greater than ordinary mortals could comprehend. The Ulfgar clan was renowned for its ferocity and fearlessness. Warriors did not fear death, knowing that Valhalla awaited them for eternal battles. But even among them, Thorolf stood out from an early age. His resilience became legendary. While other boys cried from the bitter cold, Thorolf stood unwavering, as if storms were merely a gentle breeze to him. By the age of 5, he wielded a shield larger than himself, training with seasoned warriors, enduring powerful blows without flinching once. The nickname Shield Wall came to him early, during his first true battle at 13. The clan was attacked by a hostile tribe in the dead of winter. Supplies were dwindling, and the invasion meant famine and death. The elder warriors fought bravely, but it was Thorolf who astonished everyone. Taking a position at the entrance to the main hall, he raised his shield and single-handedly held back the onslaught of enemies, protecting the women and children while his kinsmen regrouped for a counterattack. No blade pierced his defense, no spear found a breach. He was like a living wall, unyielding and unshakable. When the battle ended and the bodies were counted, Thorolf still stood, breathing heavily, covered in the blood of his enemies, but unharmed. It was then that the Skalds began to compose songs about him. By 18, Thorolf was known and respected throughout the north. He was not merely a warrior, but an embodiment of elemental force. His shield seemed indestructible, and his mind was as sharp as a blade. He fought not only with brute strength, but also with intellect, anticipating enemy movements and using the terrain to his advantage. His name was whispered in the halls of Jarls, and even kings understood that having Thorolf on their side ensured victory. But it wasn't just his combat prowess. There was something inexplicable about him, a luminescence in his eyes, a presence that made even the most hardened warriors hesitate before engaging him. And then the omens appeared. Odin's ravens seemed to follow him everywhere. He was plagued by strange dreams, visions of a dragon hidden beneath the ice, and of battles to come. One cold night, as he rested by the fire, a hooded figure emerged from the shadows. His gaze was piercing like spears, and his voice was deep like thunder. "Thorolf Shieldwall, the Allfather has seen you. The Allfather has chosen you," the messenger uttered, and handing him a pendant with the Udal symbol, vanished into the darkness. Thorolf knew what this meant. Odin had called him, and the call of the gods could not be refused. In the days that followed, the omens intensified. An unprecedented storm struck his village, which the elders considered a warning from above. Wolves howled incessantly, and even the wind seemed to whisper his name. Finally, on the night of the winter solstice, when the sky turned crimson as if with blood, Thorolf received the clearest vision. He saw Niflheim, the icy underworld, and within it, a colossal dragon with burning eyes, its frozen wings bound by the eternal ice. But there was something more. The beast guarded a secret capable of changing everything. Upon waking, Thorolf understood what he had to do. He took his shield, his blade, and set forth, never looking back. The fate of the Vikings hung in the balance, and Thorolf Shieldwall was ready to face his greatest trial. In the very heart of Asgard, where majestic halls bathed in golden light, symbolizing boundless divine power, Odin Allfather sat enthroned. His wise and discerning gaze encompassed the destinies of the universe. Silence reigned in the hall, broken only by the faint whisper of the wind penetrating through crystal windows, as if it too sought to tell its story. Odin, the sleepless guardian, felt the balance of the human world threatened by a force he had feared for centuries, the dragon of Niflheim. This was no mere monster that could be slain with sword or arrow. Draga, the ice dragon, was a legend passed down through generations, yet few truly believed in it. It possessed colossal power and inspired terror with its appearance, trapped in the icy depths of Niflheim, where eternal cold and piercing winds created an atmosphere of utter desolation. But its true nature was far more dangerous than any legend. Draga was not merely a destroyer. It held a secret capable of rewriting the future of all humanity and, even more importantly, the destiny of the gods themselves. For millennia, Draga had been imprisoned by Odin himself, who understood that the dragon could not simply be destroyed. Its power was linked to primordial energy, capable of tearing apart the cycles of fate and altering the course of history. Odin feared not only the dragon's might, but also the secret hidden beneath its scales. The revelation of this secret could weaken the gods and open the way to a new world order where humans and mythological beings would clash in endless war. This could precipitate Ragnarok, bringing destruction not only to Asgard, but to all realms. It was for this reason that Odin Allfather chose Thorolf. The Viking warrior, known as Shieldwall, was to be more than just a sharp blade against Midgard's enemies. Odin saw in Thorolf a rare quality among humans, an inner strength based not only on bravery and combat prowess, but also on strategic thinking and resilience to temptation. In a world mired in chaos and destruction, Thorolf was a warrior capable of maintaining order, a quality essential for the trials to come. On the night of revelation, Odin appeared to Thorolf in a vision, not a simple dream, but a manifestation of the one-eyed god's divine power. Thorolf was in his home, resting after a long journey, when suddenly darkness consumed everything around him. The light vanished and the sounds of the storm faded. A profound silence filled the air and an incomparable presence enveloped him. Thorolf, son of Jordin and Estrid, Shieldwall, the fate of worlds rests in your hands. Odin's voice echoed in his mind. The dragon Draga, imprisoned in Niflheim, threatens to break free. In your hands lies the key to preventing chaos and the end of our world. The secret it guards is the greatest danger we have ever faced, and only you, Thorolf, are capable of confronting it. Confused yet resolute, Thorolf felt the weight of Odin's words and a clarity in his heart. He understood that destiny called him, and he was ready to fulfill his duty, no matter the cost. He might not comprehend the dragon's secret, but he knew its power could not be allowed to flourish. "You will be the guardian of truth, a shield against the coming chaos," Odin continued, his voice growing deeper and more resonant. "But remember, Thorolf, this is not merely a battle of strength. The dragon is no ordinary creature. The struggle will be against it as well as against the very winds of fate. This will be not just a test of might, but a test of soul." Odin's vision vanished, and Thorolf awoke. The warmth of the fire before him seemed distant, as if time had momentarily paused. He knew a long, perilous journey lay ahead, full of trials. Most importantly, he understood that his mission was not just a dragon hunt. He had to confront something much greater. The fate of all beings, humans and gods, rested on his shoulders. Odin's summons resonated in Thorolf's heart with an undeniable force. Awakened from the vision that had linked him to the one-eyed god, the warrior felt the gravity of his mission. This was no longer about defending his home village or engaging in minor battles for clan honor. He was destined for a grander purpose. The fate of the world lay in his hands, and his task was clear: to journey to Niflheim, the icy underworld, and confront the dragon Draga, whose power and secret could alter the future of humanity and the gods. But before entering the domains of Niflheim, Thorolf knew his path would be fraught with danger. The first stage of his journey led him to the far corners of Midgard. There was no clear route to the realm of eternal ice. Thorolf had to traverse impassable forests, towering mountains, and frozen rivers where the biting cold chilled him to the bone. In one of his first trials, he encountered a horde of ferocious wolves, attacking with incredible speed. But Thorolf's shield wall was unyielding. With sword and shield, he expertly cut down the wolves like a seasoned warrior. This was the first test of his endurance and his ability to remain calm amidst chaos. After the battle, he realized that to succeed, he needed to be more than just a strong warrior. For weeks, Thorolf faced escalating trials, as if fate itself tested his resilience. He clambered up icy mountain slopes where gusts of freezing wind threatened to knock him off his course. One night, a creature from the darkness, seemingly woven from his own nightmares, attacked him, and only his ability to distinguish truth from illusion helped him survive. But all hardships only hardened his spirit, and Thorolf continued his journey, confident that the only way to fulfill his mission was to cross uncharted lands and reach Niflheim. As he neared the borders of the Ice Kingdom, Thorolf encountered an obstacle even he, hardened by countless battles, could not have foreseen. The entrance to Niflheim was guarded by a magical barrier, an impenetrable wall of ice that seemed to freeze the very soul of anyone who dared touch it. And at this critical moment, unexpected help came from Ani, a dwarf from the caves of Svartalfheim, known for his mastery of manipulating the magical energies of the underworld. Ani, with his long beard and eyes glowing like embers in a forge, appeared before Thorolf like a shadow woven from icy mist. "Do you seek passage to the realm of the dead, Viking?" Ani rasped, his voice full of ancient wisdom and endured trials. "The crossing will not be easy, and it will demand sacrifice. But within you, there is the spark needed to overcome this barrier, strength of spirit and courage. You merely need to learn to command the very essence of ice." Thorolf looked at the dwarf with suspicion, but he knew he had no other choice. Ani led him to a hidden cave where he revealed ancient spells capable of breaking Niflheim's magical shackles. With the dexterity of a skilled craftsman, Ani caused the ice before them to crack into a network of thin, silver-like fissures until the ice wall shattered into fragments, opening a passage into Niflheim. "Now go," Ani instructed him, "but remember, what you seek is not only in Niflheim, but within yourself. Do not let fear of the unknown consume your soul." With these words, Thorolf stepped into the icy realm. The landscape that unfolded before him was striking in its grim beauty, boundless expanses of snow and ice, where bizarre shadows created figures both frightening and mesmerizing. The air was heavy and the silence oppressive, as if time itself had stopped in this cursed place. With each step, Thorolf felt the crushing power of this realm, as if he were sinking into a waking nightmare. But the warrior did not falter. Every breath was a testament to his resolve to fulfill his mission. He journeyed through icy fields and mysterious caves, where echoes of ancient footsteps resonated. As he drew closer to the heart of Niflheim, where the dragon Draga lay imprisoned, the weight of his journey became increasingly palpable. But he also felt something else, an unseen presence, as if the very winds and rocks of Niflheim watched his every move, testing his courage. Finally, after long hours of travel and many unexpected trials, Thorolf reached the entrance to a vast ice cave. The air here was thick and cold, and the ground trembled beneath his feet. From the depths of the cave came a muffled roar, as if the earth itself responded to the dragon's presence. Draga, the ice dragon, awaited him there. But before entering the cave, Thorolf paused and cast a final glance at the path he had traveled. He understood that from now on, there was no turning back. He was about to face the most difficult trial of his life, and the mission entrusted to him by Odin himself would demand not only the strength of his sword and the fortitude of his shield, but also the courage of his soul, the ability to confront the horrors of Niflheim, a realm where time itself lost its power and where death lurked in every shadow. The sound of cracking ice echoed with every step Thorolf took deeper into Niflheim. The landscape around him was one of stark beauty, a boundless wasteland of snow and ice where the wind howled with the force of 1,000 grieving voices. But the warrior knew this was no time to admire scenery. The dragon Draga awaited him somewhere deep within this icy realm. Every movement Thorolf made was deliberate, every breath an attempt to resist the crushing pressure of the environment. Niflheim was not made for mortals. The air felt heavy in his lungs, and the very ground vibrated with an energy he couldn't fully comprehend. Upon entering this grim domain, Thorolf immediately felt the presence of the creatures inhabiting the caves and ice fields. Phantoms and spirits of fallen warriors emerged from the shadows, their eyes burning with the same ominous glow as lost souls. They whispered words Thorolf couldn't decipher, but he sensed they were warnings and curses meant to divert him from his goal. Yet Thorolf was not easily swayed. His heart beat strong and steady, filled with the determination to fulfill Odin's will. The fate of his people was in his hands, and he would not allow anything, not even the specters of the underworld, to stop him. In one of his first days in the Icelands, Thorolf stumbled upon a road of bones, a path strewn with skeletons, arranged in some sinister, ritualistic order. Each skull seemed to hold the imprint of eternal pain, as if reminding the living of the price to be paid for invading this realm. Thorolf stepped onto this road of death without hesitation, feeling the weight of hundreds of souls' gazes, but not allowing fear to seize his spirit. He understood that he was being tested here. Every step was a trial, not only of physical strength, but also of willpower and spirit. This place fed on doubt, and Thorolf would not let it consume him. After several days of wandering through the biting cold, amidst endless icy expanses and rocky peaks, Thorolf began to detect signs of Draga's presence. The ground beneath his feet vibrated imperceptibly, a tremor only a seasoned warrior could discern. With each step deeper into this harsh land, the air grew denser and more chilling, yet the dragon's exact location remained a mystery. On one particularly frigid night, a distant roar reached Thorolf's ears, so powerful it seemed as if the earth itself trembled in anticipation. This sound, born from the very heart of Niflheim, spoke of incredible strength, capable of incinerating anyone who dared approach the beast's lair. Without losing time, Thorolf headed towards the source of this thunderous roar, delving deeper into Niflheim's labyrinthine caves. The walls, covered in thick ice, were slippery and treacherous, and the atmosphere around him felt oppressive, as if the very air sought to extinguish his life. The warrior had to fight disorientation caused by the dense fog and piercing wind that enveloped everything. A sharp scent of ice and death hung in the air, and he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, an unseen presence. The surrounding stones, as if alive, took on bizarre forms, whispering ancient threats. Suddenly, in a narrow stone corridor, an icy door appeared before Thorolf's eyes, an ominous portal seemingly created to hold something terrible captive. Before the door, he saw a symbol that would be etched into his memory forever, an ancient emblem carved directly into the ice. It was the sign of ancient dragons, a rune he had encountered in his studies of myths and legends, but had never imagined it held real significance. It was the key to the heart of Niflheim, to Draga's abode, the culmination of his long and perilous journey. Gathering his resolve, Thorolf touched the icy door, and it began to slowly melt, revealing the entrance to a gigantic cave. What he saw inside surpassed even his darkest expectations. In the very center of the cave, shrouded in icy mist, stood the dragon Draga. Its enormous tail coiled through the cave like a living thing, and its wings, black as night itself, loomed above him like harbingers of doom. The dragon's eyes seemed to reflect all the pain and suffering of the world. It was an imposing creature, its scales shimmering in dark blue, almost black hues, eerily reflecting the light emanating from the cave walls. Every movement it made was accompanied by the cracking of ice, which echoed in the cave like thunder. A tense silence fell. Draga and Thorolf stared at each other, and the air around them seemed electrified. The dragon's mighty roar made the entire cave tremble. "You dare come this far, mortal?" Draga boomed as if from the abyss itself. "You have no idea what you face. Niflheim is no place for your kind." Without flinching, Thorolf raised his shield and sword, looking into the dragon's eyes with grim determination. He knew the future of his people was at stake, and that this encounter would be the decisive battle between the will of the gods and the survival of his race. "Odin sent me here," Thorolf stated firmly, "and I will fulfill my mission, whatever the cost." Thus began the battle between Thorolf's shield wall and Draga, the ice dragon, in the very heart of the frozen realm of Niflheim, where the fate of the entire world was to be decided. With a fury no warrior could have imagined, the battle erupted in Niflheim. The ice in the cave cracked beneath Thorolf's feet, and the icy wind, stirred by the dragon's movements, cut through the air like sharp blades. Draga's gigantic wings cast ominous shadows over the battlefield, making the warrior feel as if the entire universe had turned against him. Each strike of the dragon's powerful tail made the ground tremble, and the icy fire spewed by the beast crashed against the cave walls, causing explosions of steam and dazzling blue light. Thorolf, unyielding, stood his ground. The weight of his sword seemed insignificant compared to the burden of the destiny placed upon him. However, the battle was not merely physical. As the dragon and warrior fiercely clashed, another unseen struggle unfolded in the depths of the cave. Draga was not just a savage beast craving blood. It guarded a secret, something far more valuable than its immense strength and size. Deep within the cave, on an icy altar, lay an ancient scroll, covered in runes glowing like lost stars. The scroll contained knowledge of Ragnarok, the end of times. Only after Draga's death could Thorolf access it, for the dragon was the sole guardian of this knowledge. They fiercely opposed each other. Every strike from Thorolf was delivered with incredible precision, yet Draga seemed to anticipate his movements, using its immense strength to block attacks and defend with a mastery that astonished even the warrior himself. Thorolf leapt sharply to the left, evading Draga's tail, which swept past like an icy blade cutting through the air. The dragon let out a deafening roar and, arching its neck, unleashed a stream of icy fire that engulfed the entire cave. The Viking managed to dodge, but could not escape the scorching heat. "Do you think you can defeat a god?" Draga roared, its words echoing off the cave walls. "I was created to protect the wisdom of the ancients. Only the worthiest can access what is hidden here." Thorolf, exhausted but resolute, responded with a fierce growl. "I am stronger than you think, dragon." In the midst of the fierce struggle, Thorolf felt something incomprehensible within him. A power pulsed in his veins, its source far removed from warrior training or deadly weapons. The fervor of battle awakened a dormant strength within him, something ancient and almost divine. With each crushing blow, the energy in his body surged. His shield, usually heavy and plain, seemed to gain a life of its own, vibrating with an energy that transcended its material form. In this culminating moment, in the very heart of the battle, the truth about Thorolf came to light. Suddenly, a brilliant flash illuminated the cave, momentarily blinding both combatants. Visions flooded Thorolf's mind himself on a battlefield, wielding a gleaming axe. He saw his ancestors, a lineage stretching back to Tyr himself, the god of war. He was not merely a warrior, but a demigod, a son of Tyr, which explained his exceptional combat skills, unyielding resilience, and superhuman strength. When the light dissipated, Thorolf looked at the dragon and realized that without this revelation, he would not have had the strength to triumph. This was his destiny. The shield, a family heirloom he had always carried, now pulsed with a new energy, as if it were a vessel for the divine power of his lineage. With a wild cry, Thorolf charged, faster and stronger than ever before, unleashing an unstoppable force upon the dragon. The battle reached its climax as Thorolf swiftly raised his shield above his head. The dragon, sensing the imminent danger, unleashed a final, devastating blast of fire and ice. But at that moment, Thorolf's shield flared with a blinding golden light, dispersing the surrounding darkness. It was as if Mjolnir itself, Thor's hammer, had been reborn within it. The ancient power of his father, Tyr, manifested through him, and Thorolf brought his shield down upon Draga's power, creating a wave of energy that split the monster in two. With a death shriek, the dragon collapsed to the ground, its flesh disintegrating into pieces of ice and ash that vanished into the air. The scroll, freed from its confinement, floated into Thorolf's hands. He took it, feeling the weight of the wisdom that was now his. But before he could examine its contents, an immense, indescribable presence materialized in the cave. The air around him thickened, and a towering figure appeared before him. Odin Allfather himself stood there, illuminating the dark cave with his presence, like the sun breaking through clouds. His gaze was piercing, and he looked at Thorolf with a serious but approving smile. "You have accomplished what few would dare," Odin proclaimed, his voice echoing off the stone walls. "You defeated the dragon, gained ancient wisdom, and proved your valor. Now, Thorolf Shieldwall, it is time to return home. The gates of Asgard are open to you. Go, my son, follow me." At Odin's word, Thorolf felt the energy around him shift. He had completed his mission and, more importantly, had come to know his true nature, the demigod he had always been, a warrior carrying the strength of the gods. He understood his destiny and, with a final glance at the scroll of wisdom, followed Odin to Asgard, ready to face the future, knowing that his journey had only just begun.